I was today years old, well, not today years old, a few months ago years old, when I realized I was very late in learning about finances, about financial independence, about what to do with money. I will admit I am still learning, but I definitely wanted to give my child an earlier start than what I got. So this is where this video came from. Will I stand like this the entire video? No, I'm already getting tired. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the village. It is your sister Ashante, and yes, today we are talking about how I introduced financial literacy into our homeschool. Financial literacy is one of those things that is a life skill, and so many of us don't learn it until we're adults. And at that point in time, we know more about what we should not do than what we should do. And this is one of the perks of being a homeschooler. You can actually cater the curriculum to give your kid the advantage as they grow up, to make sure that they have these life skills that other children may not be getting. I did read that there are certain states have it where to graduate from that high school, not college, from that high school, you have to take at least one financial literacy class. So I think that's incredible. But unfortunately, this is very limited. I don't think this is nationwide just yet. And it really is doing a disservice to our students, to our parents. That part was just sitting up, bless his heart. But homeschoolers, you get the chance to do that for your kid. Like I said, this is the introduction. This is how we started. This is not complete. Like I said in the beginning, we are still learning because I am still learning. There's so much that I didn't know. So as I get wisdom, I give it to her, and I'm actually giving it to you guys too. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So to start with this, I kind of wanted to ease her into it. I have a 12-year-old who might as well be 98 because she is so resistant to changes sometimes. That teenage stage, they are wise beyond their years. So we started with the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Richest Man in Babylon is a must read. I feel like if you haven't read it yet as an adult, you should read it as well. Actually, for this homeschool curriculum, we did it as a read along. We did it together where I would read or she would read. And there were a couple of different reasons for that. For one, obviously this is set back in Babylonian times, so the language was a little bit different. I wanted to make sure that she was able to actually catch what was going on. So I wanted comprehension to be caught right in the moment. So we went over it as we were reading. And then two, I actually have this incredible book. I have this incredible book called the Read Along or the Read Aloud Family, and it is really good, but it talks about how reading with your children, even as they get older, really helps the bonding that you have with them as well as their comprehension. So this worked. Side note, I actually borrowed this book from an incredible woman at my local librarian, homeschooler, shout out to you, and she was a fan of the page. Hope you still are, because I borrowed this book about 3 years ago. I have every intention to give it back. I just don't know how to get it to you. So if you are still watching this, please let me know how I can get your book back to you. As you can see, I still have it. Wonderful condition, I promise you. Back to what we were doing. So, Richest Man in Babylon, it is a story about a gentleman who was a chariot maker. He made incredible chariots, and one day he had a dream that he was very, very wealthy, when in reality he was extremely poor. So he went to talk to the richest man in Babylon, who happened to be an old friend of his, to see how did he make money? How did he keep making money? And it's really, really good. It's truly like a story setting. Now, like I said, my daughter is 12, so she would be 6th grade going into 7th grade. I do believe because this is story setting, it's really, really a quick read. You could take this down to like 5th or 4th grade and still get the comprehension that you need. Bonus! You can see all the feelings I had there.
I'm coming at you with the bonus. You're welcome.
So, because we were actually reading about Babylon, we started to learn more about ancient history, specifically the Babylonians and the Babylonian era. One of the books that we used to do this was Story of the World. Story of the World, if you haven't read it, is a history book. This one is the very first one in ancient times. It goes not into detail. It talks about the Babylonians. It talks about what happened to them, the rise and the fall of them. But the way that it does it is it follows two kids and how they grow up, and it once again reads like a regular book. It does have activities that go along with it, so you can bring home the history lessons that are there. But this was really wonderful to add so we can learn about Babylonian history. In addition to that, we also did quite a few activities online and watched some videos through YouTube. We also will be adding along some ancient mythology, specifically Greek, I think, or Roman. I'm not sure which way we'll go with that, because in the story, The Richest Man in Babylon, many times they refer to the gods. The gods, may the gods be with you. And I thought that would be a good segue for us to learn about mythology. So what I did right there was I gave you finance, ratchet nails, but I gave you finance, I gave you history, I gave you mythology, and I gave you the Readalong family, which really helps you as an individual with your family. So I gave you 4 things for the price of 1. I sure hope you subscribe, because I don't know too many other people that's doing that.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so once we finished The Richest Man in Babylon, we actually moved on to a couple of different books. The very first one that we went to was this fun one, How to Turn $100 into $1 Million. Of course, the title really grabbed my daughter's attention. The book itself really talks more, hold on, gotta go to my notes. The book itself really talks more, yes, about income and entrepreneurship. It does speak on stocks a little bit, investing and compounding, but really it talks a lot more about income and entrepreneurship. This was great for our family because a certain someone started asking more about chores. It was nice for that week and a half that she was consistent. But wanting to make money, wanting to be able to do with her money what she wanted to do. So the income with the chores, the entrepreneurship, my daughter actually had a dog walking business before, but this got her to thinking of how she can make different kind of businesses, kind of rethinking what she can do. And so she's recently started a resale shop, which has been pretty exciting for her. So this book was also another good one to use. With that, with making money, we watched a cartoon by Mr. Warren Buffett. You can actually find it here on YouTube for free, called The Secret Millionaires Club. The Secret Millionaires Club is about a group of kids who they're learning life lessons, but they do it in like a business way. A lot of the advice that they give on the show is so good that I'm a person who talks to the TV anyway. Like, you do not want to go to the movies with me. But it was so good that I was like, that's really good. Did you get that? Did you hear that? It was just really good information. And sometimes it was very subtle, so I didn't want her to miss that. So one cool thing about this group of kids is their mentor just happens to be none other than Warren Buffett, and he actually voices the character that's himself. It's really cute. Now, this series began in 2011, so the graphics are a little bit older, which if you have, these kids, they top of the notch graphics. So my daughter's age group, they may say things like it's a little bit too young for them. They think it looks old, but it gets a good point across, and it's free. One of the things that I found really cool about it, besides the really good advice that it gave, was also that they had really interesting cameos happen on this cartoon. I think Jay-Z is in the very first one. Shaq was in one. My girl Kelly Rowland was in one. So it's really cool. So they try to make it relevant to the culture that is watching it, put cool kids in there. Although I don't know if these kids even really know who Jay-Z and Kelly Rowland are. The next thing we did was another book. This one was actually more about investing. Move paper. It's actually simply called Investing for Kids. Obviously, this one definitely focuses more on the investment side. It does too talk about income, but it goes more in depth about investing. I read this book. I read this book and learned a lot. Things that you may have not heard of, things that you may not understand. It breaks it down in simple terms. I really enjoyed this book. Now, from that, we started something called a custodial account. We started these gnats, my God. We started a custodial account. If you've never heard of a custodial account, it's basically stocks or ETFs that you can buy in your child's name. Your child is the stockholder. Now, you may be like, that's a lot like 529 accounts or 529 plans. It is, but it isn't. A 529 plan is or can only be used for their education. So if for some reason your child decides not to go to college, or I guess not go to college since it's just for education, I believe there's a penalty for you to get your own money. Even if your child says, I don't want to go to college in the state that the 529 was set up in, sometimes there's a penalty for that. These are literally just stocks that your child, I have gnats for some reason and they're annoying me. Anyway, these are literally just stocks that your child owns in their name that they can use the monies for whatever. Now, with that, they do not have access to the funds until they're 18 years old. I had not heard of custodial accounts or until I followed a young man by the name of Wall Street Chopper. Now, if you've not heard of Wall Street Chopper, you need to YouTube him after this video. He is amazing. I actually seen him on a group called EYL. I'm a member of EYL, and he literally changed my life. So those are two people that if you yourself want to learn about stocks and investing, they can literally break it down for you in a way that is simplified. Now, Trap or Wall Street Trapper, goes by Trap. I was about to say we call him Trap like I know him, but Wall Street Trapper, he's from New Orleans. So when he talks, it's the 504. Like it's New Orleans, you know. So if you're not used to that accent, to that drawl, it may be a little bit difficult for you to get used to. But me being in Houston, Texas, them like my cousins, that's what we know. And EYL, they are out of New York, but it is just incredible information for free that they are giving out. So if you have older kids, like if you have a 16, 17-year-old, especially young man, and you want to have them understand a little bit better about finances, those are two, I guess, a group and a person that you could have them follow that really breaks it down at their level. So the custodial account was very easy to set up. I actually set mine up through Stash. All the things that I have here, I will put a link below to the books, to Stash. I am trying to set up an affiliate link, so hopefully I'll have that set up by the time this video comes out. So if you click on any of the purchases, you help your sister out, which we all appreciate. But Stash is just basically an online bank. I chose them because I already had an account set up with them. But you can also do TD Ameritrade if you have an account with them as well. Like I said, the account is set up through your child's name and their birth date and social security number, and you can begin to make purchases and trades as soon as it's approved. Now, what we did was I had set the account up as soon as I found out about what a custodial account was. I set it up and started putting money in there. Once we got to the end of the book, we together sat down, my daughter and I showed her account. I talked to her about what it was, and then we started a challenge. I wanted her to be able to invest in stocks and feel comfortable with that. So she was given monies each week to invest in certain stocks that she had researched based on what we learned in the book. She chose 3 stocks. She chose Google, Nestle, and Roblox. We made charts of that to track their progress. We also made predictions of which one would do well. And we are enjoying it. It's something that we continue to do. We continue to look at different things. It's funny because she chose Nestle because she loves their strawberry milk. But now we'll look and notice that the Toll House cookies that you see, they're by Nestle. The waters that you can drink, they're by Nestle. So we're seeing how our purchases, our ownership is pretty much everywhere. So that is really interesting. Like I said, if you want to know more about custodial accounts, I'll put the link to Stash below, as well as the link to Wall Street Trapper, the episode where he talks about custodial accounts. And that's it. That's all the work I'm doing for you. So that's it. That's how we introduced financial education into our homeschool. I hope this was helpful for you. Of course, if it was, please hit me with a thumbs up. You guys know I'm trying to grow the channel. But if you have any tips that can help other homeschoolers, specifically me, because I'm very selfish like that, please put them down below. The goal is that we help one another so our children grow. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye.